Call Allah, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Brakatahawa, Brakatahawa Shai, Brakatahawa, Brakatahawa Shai, Brakatahawa, Brakatahawa Shai, the water, Abba Babal, called Kadash. I'd like to give double honors to the elders and apostles, great millstone, that teaches us truth, the 100% truth, according to the Bible. The title of my lesson today is going to be talking about Esau is seeking his birthright back. And he's been seeking it back for as long as, ever since in Genesis when he first gave it away. And let's go back to where he gave up his birthright. The book of Genesis, chapter 25, verse 31 through 34. And Jacob said, sell me this day thy birthright. You know, Esau had a brother, they were twins, Esau and Jacob. Jacob was the progenitors of the 12 tribes, and Esau was the progenitor of the so-called white race that you have here today, that rules the whole world. And Jacob said, sell me this day thy birthright. And Esau said, behold, I am at the point to die, and what profit shall his birthright do to me? Now Esau had went out hunting, and he came back, and he was, he was parched, he was hungry, and he wasn't about to die. All he had to do was hold out. But Jacob, if you go back to Jacob, his name breaks down to like trickster. The Lord has already ordained him from the beginning to receive the birthright. But the Lord, when he puts a story together, a movie, it's always got to be some dramatic to it, and that was the dramatic part about it. So he made sure Jacob got the birthright. And this, by the way, it ticked Esau off. Esau was already wicked in the house. He was already going to be the wicked, the wicked of the world. So there's nothing he could have done to gotten out of that. And the Lord didn't want this devil ruling the whole world, for eternity. Even though he has it now, he's the ruler. But he's not going to be the eternal ruler over the world. And Esau said, behold, I am at the point to die, and what profit shall his birthright to me? And therefore signifying, that Esau, he's a carnal man. He thinks carnally. Nothing of him is spiritual at all. He's a carnal-minded person. Genesis chapter 25 and 33. And Jacob said, swear to me this day. And he sware unto him, and sold his birthright unto Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage and of lentils, and he did eat and drink, and raise up and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright. So birthright is something that we should hold dearly. We should not be, give something like that up as precious as that up just for a meal, But he sold his birthright. We got it fair and square. Our forefather did. And now this devil realized he coming at the end of his rulership. He's trying to get his birthright back. Well, he's been known, but he's been fighting more so, because we're at the end of the days now. And the devil said, the Lord said that the devil was going to come down hard because, his time is coming to an end. So we'll start off in the book of Psalms, chapter 83, verse 2. For lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. Verse 4. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent, they are confederate against thee. So like I said, when he came into power back in the early 1500s, by the time of Cristobal Colon, when he came over to the Americas, that's when he came back into his power. And he's been ruling until present day. And one thing he did, he knew he was dealing with the Israelites, the children of the children of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. So therefore he's been creating all type of decrees and things of trying to cover up history, switching names around, breaking up families from generation to generation, so that the next generation they can kind of wipe out the language, the name, our customs, all these things. So all these things was done to break us from our heritage, man, and to destroy us as a people, Shalaki. And even today, in present day, what kind of inspired me to do this lesson? I was thinking back about how, I'm a 60s baby. I was born in the 60s, and that was the beginning of them totally decimating Jake. Breaking up and destroying our families. They did it during the time of slavery. Then, we kind of recovered a little bit. Jake was getting back on their feet. Then they came in and during the early 1900s, 1918s, and they started destroying our communities because we were being self-sufficient and living on our own without, Esau being involved. So they took us. They said, no, we can't do. They weren't allow us to do things on our own. So they assimilated our people back into their society. So we had to be dependent upon them for pretty much everything, as far as for housing, clothing, food, water, education. We had to go to them for everything. And the Bible said that was going to happen because, first of all, it goes back to us being disobedient, man. We broke our covenant. When you go into Leviticus chapter 28, we broke our covenant with our Lord and Savior, man. And by us breaking that agreement, we agreed to let those curses that was going to fall upon us. And part of that curse was allowing these devils to be over us and rule us and oppress us the way they did. And like I said, in the 1960s, I was brought up. That's when I was born, and that was the very beginning of our severe downfall, because they assimilated us into the community, into their system. They took the father out of the household. That's when it came with these decrees that the women can have a man in the household in order for them to receive housing, food, clothing, and shelter. Those things they provided for them through the EBT, through the welfare system. Myself, I was a product of that. I came up in those communities like that. But that's a well thought out plan that Esau came up with. And where he went about doing it, he took away all the manufacturing jobs out of those communities. And it started in the 60s and it continued on into the 80s under Bill Clinton, when they came up with those NAFTA laws, agreements. They took those manufacturing jobs that Jake was, making enough money to put enough money aside and be able to build up their communities. So they took away those jobs, they sent them overseas. They left Jake in these communities, and they didn't have any work, no way to be able to prosper. So the next generation that came up under, they was totally vulnerable. And so what did they do then? They started pumping drugs. Started off with heroin in the 60s into the black communities, so-called black communities. And then we saw the destruction and the carnage that left behind. And then, Jake was kind of recovering from that, getting back on their feet. And then when they hit us another wave, and that was the crack epidemic, which that's when well documented through the CIA that they was using the money from selling guns to the Contras down in South America. They would get the cocaine, bring it up here, and dump it into the black communities. And then, like I said, Jake ain't had no job, so most Jakes, they're naturally gonna go to what's gonna make money. And Jake is already oppressed. He's already downtrodden, so most Jake's gonna give in to taking those drugs. So we had the crack epidemic after we just recovering pretty much from the damn heroin epidemic. And then on top of that, you bring in these laws where you're driving the man out of the home. Only way the woman's going to be able to, take care of her child or her kids, she had to have the man out of the house, the man out of the house rule. And I witnessed myself, where they would come in, they would check the closets, check the drawers, go in the bathroom, see if there are any men items that was in there, and if they saw everything checked out okay, the social worker would leave out, because she'd write a report and say that nobody was there, therefore she continued to receive her assistance for a whole nother year. And it usually was a yearly thing, but sometimes it'd be unannounced. And so by being unannounced, she always had to be on point. You can have a man, so naturally the women became conditioned to not having a man in the house. Therefore, she became the decision maker. They left these women in the houses in these communities, man, and it's going to create a bunch of drama. So you don't have no fathers there that's going to direct that community, and so a lot of these kids naturally they're going to be given in to other devices, and that's when they started pushing the gang culture. So all these things are devices by Esau Edom, man, to help destroy our people. And you see the condition where we're at today now. So after the crack epidemic, Jake finally starting to recover again. But by this time, it's already decimated because crack epidemic under Joe Biden and Clinton now, they drafted a law that if you caught with the crack cocaine, a gram of crack cocaine, you're going to do some time. You're going to do some serious time for just having crack. And so a lot of Jakes is out there selling this. A lot of Jakes went to prison. They caught this time. But they had children left behind in these communities. So that next generation of children, they were lost. So they easily be manipulated to be influenced. Then comes the rap music culture. They started pushing the gang violence through the rap music. Through NWA, through it's a host of other groups that came out during that time that was pushing the gang culture. And then they started pushing, sexual perversion amongst the women, through Lil' Kim, one of the ones I can think of, and the list just goes on and on from there. And then you would say where we're at now, where they push this thing now, where they got all the way down to what you have now. These total ratchet ones, what's his broad name? I always call it Dirty Red, but called Sexy Red. Ain't nothing sexy about him, man. And then you got Glorilla, Megan Thee Stallion, Cardi B, and these a bunch of degenerates, man. And they push that towards the young girls of our nation. And they push this feminism mindset where these women now, they don't even want to have a family. They pushing the abortion thing where they go out here and as a matter of fact, I think it's one of Sexy Red songs which is talking about going Plan B. It might be Glorilla where they talking about Plan B, where we go out here and abort our kids and they bragging about it, man. They really out here bragging about it and they hold these people to high esteem, man. So, Lord's definitely going to have to come back. He's going to have to come back and take this devil out of power because of the destruction that he's done to our community. And why is Esau doing it? First of all, it's always going to be that perpetual hatred between Esau and Jacob. Esau was always going to be to the point where he's going to try to destroy us. So we're going to go to Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 15. Woe unto him that giveth his neighbor drink, that putteth thy bottle to him, and maketh him drunken also, that he mayest look on their nakedness. And part of them that giving us that strong drink, which they know that we did that, they did that literally to the Native Americans. They came over here and they gave them alcohol, and after they had Gad on these oppressed reservations, man, and Gad naturally he gave in. He was broken down. They broke Gad, they took his spirit away from him. And they destroyed a lot of them through alcohol. And same way with Jake, in the 60s and 70s, man, 60s, 70s, and in the 80s during the crack epidemic and the heroin epidemic. Put Jake in these oppressed conditions, then you pump in the drugs, and then, you expose them to the world. Because I remember during that time, they had President Reagan and his wife, Nancy Reagan, she would get out there and just say no to drugs. They didn't offer Jake any type of rehabilitation. You're just supposed to say no to drugs. But Jake is oppressed, and he turned to drugs as a way of form of relief. And therefore you got men and women that were just totally strung out, man, walking around like zombies. And then we saw the after effects from that, because the generation after that was totally decimated, man. Grandmothers was raising these grandkids on their own, which that's damn near impossible to do without a community involved. But you had no communities, because they done broke up and destroyed the communities. Now you look at the communities now, man, it ain't no communities, man. Because back then I remember, if you went out and you acted up on the streets, 2 or 3 blocks down the road, man, your family knew about it and your neighbors would correct you. Now it's to the point now, your neighbors, they ain't not going to say anything at all. They're going to turn their head, They're not going to get involved. Because you got most of these mothers now, you say anything to their child, they're going to flip out on you. They're going to spaz out on you. So, it's a well-devised plan that he came up with. And the Lord allowed him to do it because, he's the whipping stick, on us for going off. So like I said, they pumped that crack cocaine in and they displayed us to the world. They said we was like animals and brute beasts, and they showed us in our lowest form when they gave us the drugs and these things to help cripple us. And you don't think that, when they got us in this ratchet behavior now, they don't go before the Most High Power, they're high priest, and they say, look at these people, he's supposed to be your people. Look at how degenerate they are. They're out here selling drugs to each other, they're killing up one another. The women, they're straight harlots, But the Lord knows what everything's going on, man. He sees what the devil is doing. Because Esau has forwarded the affliction. Meaning he went overboard with the affliction. St. Mark chapter 3 verse 27. No man can enter into a strong man's house and spoil his goods except he will first bind the strong man, and then he will spoil his house. And really talking about the house is talking about the house of Israel, man. How was he able to spoil Israel? He broke up the families. He took the men out of the household, man. And therefore our women, through a choice of bad decisions instigated by Esau Edom, we had the condition where you see our people at today, man. As a whole, as a majority. You have some jakes that's still doing good for the most part. A lot of our people, man, have been destroyed. And you can see it through the culture, through the so-called nigger culture that they have out here. And through the, just ride around in any of these hoods, man, any of these major cities, and you'll see how our people have been turned into a ratchet, degenerate vine that the Lord was talked about. So that's how you enter the strong man. You locked a lot of the men up. You took the men out of households. You took away the job so Jake can go out there and provide for himself. You put them on these reservations, talking about the northern tribes, man, Gad and Reuben. You put them on those reservations, man, oppressed the hell out of them. They didn't have any jobs. They owned inhospitable land where they couldn't grow anything. And then you killed off all the buffaloes, man, so you left them to where they had to be totally dependent upon you. And that comes with conditions. But all these things, Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai, he sees what Esau's doing. He think he's reporting to the left-hand side, but he don't understand all of them work for Yahweh. He controls both sides, good and the bad. So we're gonna go up, I think that was pretty much it. But let's go back over Genesis again. And Jacob said, sell me this day thy birthright. And Esau said, behold, I am the point to die, and what profit shall this birthright do to me? And Jacob said, swear to me this day. And he swore unto him. He sold his birthright unto Jacob. That's why we always say Jake, man, because Jake is short for Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage and lentils, And he did eat and drink and rose up and went his way. And thus Esau despised his birthright. So all praise to Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shah. You know, and hopefully this lesson was edifying to the Akriam and Akwas that's out there that's still holding strong. With that, endure. Shalom.